I can't help but smile whenever I see or talk about Samar anyway. So Samar is someone that came to us early on, and just a curious person in general and asking so many amazing questions. How can he get involved? How can he take advantage of some of the amazing programs we have? And I'll let him talk about that. But I believe even scholarships was one of those. And when he was with Cornell Tech, being a student at Cornell Tech, he was so enthusiastic and says, listen, we have a project that we could be doing. Is there any way that we can collaborate with the FinOps Foundation and the community? And he's just one of the most enthusiastic, enjoyable people to be around. And I'll let him tell his story, but we're so happy to have him part of this community. And I've been personally just excited to watch this growth happen. And just I'm excited to see what's going to happen next with him. So Samar, this is you.
Uh,
Shine.
Thank you so much, Stacy. That was such a nice introduction. Okay, thank you so much. So I'll just start with my journey so far. So I did my engineering in electronics and computer science from India in 2016. Did work for Goldman Sachs in the risk division for around 2.5 years. Then was lucky to join a cloud cost optimization company in around 2019. It was pure luck. I landed on this domain and worked on usage optimization and rate optimization for around 3 years. After that, decided that want to upskill my business skills. That is why MBA was the next logical step. Currently, I have been learning organizational cultural practices like product management, and have been actively involved with the foundation on some projects. Yes, next slide. Okay, so how did I got involved with the FinOps Foundation? So the credit belongs to Dieter, who is one of the earliest FinOps ambassadors. So earlier when I was working with the vendor, so I used to sometimes present with Dieter or regularly chat with Dieter. And that's when I was moving to the US, I just reached out to Dieter. I was always fascinated by his job in cloud financial management and capacity planning at Roku, Google. How do I get into this space? So Dieter was like, there is this organization, finops.org. Why don't you get certified? And let's talk. So did get certified 2 weeks later, and had the opportunity to meet Dieter at AWS reInvent 2022. So has been a wonderful journey, like getting a mentor like him so early in my career. Yes, next slide. Okay, next slide. Okay. Yes. So how did the collaboration with the foundation happen? So was moved to US around May 2022. And at that time I saw FinOps X is happening. So as Stacy was mentioning, did reach out to Stacy that I'm currently a student. I have practiced FinOps for 3 years when it was not called FinOps. So can I get involved in the FinOps X that is happening in Austin, Texas on June 20th and June 21st? Stacy was very generous, provided me a scholarship to attend that. And after that, while I was at the foundation, at the conference, so there was a talk by Mark Butcher on sustainability on the cloud. So got super interested on the sustainability space. It was like for 3 years, I worked on the cost side of the picture. Should I explore the carbon side of the picture as well? And will people be interested in it? So there was a collaboration opportunity with Cornell here. So I reached out to Stacy, as she was mentioning, and just posted this particular project. Want to explore the sustainability space. Was very lucky to find 4 other people with me from the cloud space to join me on this journey. So yes, next slide. Okay, so what was the project actually? So the project was around how might we reduce the environmental impact of public cloud workloads. Just to set the picture right, the total carbon emissions are currently at 38 billion tons. 4% of that is contributed by the cloud industry, and the airline industry is currently contributing 2.5%. Further, the cloud industry is expected to grow by 5 to 7x in the next 5 years. So this carbon problem is continuing to stay, and it might be time that developers start paying attention to it. Yes, next slide. Okay, so how did we go about doing FinOps research? So for that, we interviewed around 30 people. These people were different personas from FinOps vendors, people working on enterprises and cloud service providers. So these were the top pain points that we realized while doing this research, that enterprises are mostly not aware of the impact of their cloud workloads on the environment. The cost picture is coming clearer now. So the carbon has to start picking up after that, I believe. Secondly, the carbon footprint data provided by cloud service providers currently cannot pinpoint what is the exact carbon impact of a workload. Thirdly, we conducted a lot of stakeholder interviews and figured out that this work will involve a lot of FinOps personas in a company to come together to solve this problem. The main solution that we figured out after doing interviews were that if vendors and enterprises can get data in an API format to integrate in their applications, so a cost and carbon picture can be put together. So just to build that API, I use these open source resources like electricity maps, CO2 signal, Teeds AWS SKU resources, and the cloud carbon footprint by ThoughtWorks. Next slide. Okay, so what were the key results that were developed? So we developed 3 major solutions. The first was region picker, which is like if you launch a SKU in US West 2 versus US West 1, you can be 75% more carbon efficient. So these are easy wins when launching a resource. Second is time picker. So launch the resource when the time is right or when renewable energy is available. Even Google has done a lot of research along this space. And the third is carbon cost optimizer, where we see vendors and enterprises coming in and pitching together for the solution. So the API work for this is open source currently, like the region picker and the time picker data, so that vendors can integrate it in their application. So that's something that we look forward to over the coming months. Secondly, so our team presented in Cornell Tech Open Studio. So there were around 85 teams in this journey, and we were among the top 5 teams there. Thirdly, FinOps is a thing that has not become viral till now in colleges. It might have become in enterprises. So around 500 students in Cornell are aware now what is FinOps. And I did talk to 3 professors at Cornell about the FinOps and why is it so important. So deeper understanding of the FinOps ecosystem, and everyone knows that interdisciplinary skills are needed to make this practice. Yes, thank you so much, JR.
Excellent, Samar. Thank you. There's great comments in the chat there as well. And I think we wanted to ask you a few questions. I think Ben from our team who worked with you on this about what's next for you in the project.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, Simar, it's been great fun working with you through this. And thank you for getting so excited and so involved. So the first thing I want to ask you, you mentioned that like 500 students at Cornell now have a good understanding of FinOps. Do you think that there ought to be now that's time yet for a dedicated FinOps educational program delivered by colleges or universities? And if you think so, which departments do you think ought to be sort of part of that as a sort of a joint disciplinary thing?
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. I would absolutely think that it should be a part of the college programs. Just to give an example, I would have not been in this space, first of all. If this community did not exist, I would have mostly taken the traditional MBA routes, which is investment banking or consulting to get into. But since I was involved in the cloud cost space, this gave me an opportunity that the community was so helpful to get involved here. Secondly, I always see that there are courses that are going on now on the data science space, on the cryptocurrency space in the colleges, but there are no courses on FinOps or the cloud computing. Cloud computing is also taking off. So if we can train students in this journey, so when they join enterprises, the learning curve can be slightly less. Thirdly, a good starting point that I think can be is these e-learning courses, like Harvard has an e-learning course, MIT has an open courseware. So Ben, I know you teach every month. Can we post something on MIT courseware, open courseware with the FinOps thing, such that students have a much wider access to it? It is available for free for students.
Sounds like a conversation we should keep having. The next thing I want to ask you quickly is, so what's next for Simar? What's next for you? And what are the areas of FinOps that really light your fire and get you excited? What do you want to work in now?
So that's a tough question though. Okay, so I have had experience across usage optimization, rate optimization, and like have learned a lot of finance and reporting with this MBA, setting cultural practices, and have had finance experience from Goldman as well previously. So I want to tie it back all together, which I see in FinOps, like setting cultural practices, doing finance thing, and also on the technology side of things. So ultimate goal is to become a FinOps leader in 3 to 4 years from now, but have to start somewhere. So would love to work for enterprises when I'll be graduating in 2 to 3 months from now.
Amazing. Thank you, Samar. Definitely encourage you to go look back at the comments, folks. We're very excited about your content and your enthusiasm. And, you know, I think there's a topic that was hit on just generally here that we all kind of need to work on, and the foundation is thinking about long-term, which is, you know, certifications and things are great, but ultimately, you know, a lot of this content probably needs to make its way back into, you know, university education. Somebody asked about economics. I mean, cloud, you know, general tech certifications, engineering certifications, finance. I mean, all needs to sort of start to touch on this. So we're working over time to hopefully bring that in, and with great partnership with folks like Cornell and Syracuse. And if you know of others, you want to reach out to university to start getting FinOps content in. I think that's the long-term fix for making this part of the larger tech community. JR here from the FinOps Foundation. Thank you for watching. Please go to FinOps.org if you want to get plugged into this amazing community. And of course, hit subscribe right here on YouTube to get all the future content. Hope to see you soon.